First time using the e-collar with Coco. Usually I start with something that the dog knows fairly well. In this instance, I'm going to use her name. Name is just an informal type-ish recall. I'm not really looking for anything specific after them coming to me or changing direction with me when they're at a distance. So here, she already understands that there's a positive consequence for coming to me. She understands what yes means. So here, when I'm dealing with competing motivators out in the world, especially with her, she likes to get really distracted. The food, sometimes even toys, you know, she's in and out of wanting to play with me. They're not going to suffice in getting my dog to come to me reliably. Right? If I only focus on the positive aspects of a behavior, that's when, you know, it'll fall apart when there is more realistic things happening in the world. And the world is going to dictate that I need my dog to be doing things when I tell them to. So I'm not asking her to come to me. I am telling her to come to me. You know, I'm not going to ask her to heel. I'm not going to beg her to do these positions. I need her to understand, and that when I say, she needs to do. Right? In the practical application of our obedience, recall, heel, sit, down, whatever it may be, is because the environment is telling me to do so. I need to be respectful of other dogs and people, so on and so forth. And I can't just focus on the positive consequences, because once she finds something more valuable than the positive consequences that I can offer her, that's when the behavior will fall apart. So here, just very basic stuff. I'm just looking for her to respond to her name. If she doesn't respond to her name, that's when I give a singular tap on the e-collar. If she responds, she turns and directs focus and comes back to me. That's when I mark the behavior yes, and I offer her the reward. If she stays non-compliant after the first initial tap, I go into a very slow tap, tap, tap cadence until I get compliance. When she does comply, I release tapping, or I cease tapping, and then I mark that behavior yes and offer her the reward coming to me. Coco. Tap. Yes. Yeah, good girl. Yes. If she makes a decision on her own free will to come back to me, I'm definitely marking that and rewarding 100% of the time. Yes, good girl. And even though I'm using food, I try to use it very similarly to a toy, so they're going on chase for it. Free. Coco. Yes, yeah, good girl. Good girl. Are you about it? Go get distracted. Yes. So through repetition, she'll just start to understand to follow me around just a little bit better. I'm more valuable to her when I incorporate both positive and negative aspects of behavior. Coco. Yes, good mama. I'm really looking for her to break that focus from whatever it is and truly acknowledge my existence before I mark. Yes. And again, anytime she makes a voluntary decision without any sort of formal communication, I am marking that behavior and rewarding it. Coco. Yes. Yeah, mama. Now she's responding really consistently to her name. It's still very minimal distraction, but the times we've been out here previously to this, it was, once I start getting involved in something, there is no breaking focus. And it doesn't always have to be the e-collar. The way you can start this is just showing her how to use the leash as well. So no e-collar here. Coco. Yes. Damn, the training's working. Free. Coco. Tap, tap, tap. Yes. Tap, tap. Yes. And that's a good example. She acted like she was going to comply and decided not to. So the tapping just continues even after I mark. Coco. Tap, tap. Yes, good. And honestly, they're going to understand the leash a lot better because it's more directional. I'm giving them more of that communication on what direction I actually want them to go. Coco. Tap, 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 tap. Yes. Right, so if we're only using the positive influence, obviously there's something over here that is more valuable right now than what I can offer. So me trying to come over and beg her for attention is not realistic. I don't want to beg my dogs for their compliance, right? So I don't care if it's food over here or people or dogs or squirrels or rabbits or whatever it is. When I tell you to come to me, I need you to come to me, no matter what state of mind you're in. Coco. So tap, 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 tap. Yes. That's all I'm really looking for right there in the beginning, is just a little bit more compliance, breaking focus from whatever it was. So that helps them. The yes marker helps them understand why they're feeling the sensation, how to shut it off or avoid the sensation, and the appropriate thing that I'm looking for moving forward. Right, so I'm showing her how to achieve success and how to avoid failure. Coco. Yes. Yeah, and then no tap there. I do this, that's how I'm gauging progress. How consistently do I have to utilize the ECollar? As I progress through my session, am I not having to utilize it so much? If I were dialing it up, am I having to do that consistently? I tend not to dial up as best I can here in the first few sessions in this process. Coco. Yes. Yeah, good girl. And I make it really fun and exciting when they do comply. Coco. Yes, good. And then no tap there. There's a piece of food on the ground. Come on, come on, come on. Yes. Voluntarily coming back. This is what it looks like here in the first initial stages. Until I see a little bit more reliability under distraction. But I'm prepared for her not to be compliant. I'm adding a new criteria to the behavior. So very lenient. I really want the dog to actively make the decision to start coming back to me before I mark that behavior yes, but sometimes just breaking focus of the distraction back onto me before I mark yes and offer the reward to go on chase and get it will sometimes suffice. But as we start building more understanding in the behavior, then I'll start asking for more and more. But just because I'm looking for a final complete picture of a specific behavior doesn't mean I'm going to always expect that, especially in the beginning. We build the pieces together. So we segment it out. There's different components to recalling. There's different components to healing. There's different components to sit down in place and whatever else you teach. So I'm not trying to teach it all at once. I break it down. And then once they understand the different segments of the behavior, that's when I'll start piecing the different segments together before I reward or utilize the ECollar, so on and so forth. I fade away from the ECollar before I'll fade away from my positive consequences, even with my own personal dogs, because I like going back and keeping behavior really precise. Play with a toy for obedience is something I never really get away from. It's also a really good way, the way I train my own dogs, when you're incorporating obedience to a very precise degree and play, you're mentally and physically engaging your dog, which is going to make them more well-rounded. So I'm making them think, and I'm making them use their physicality all in one session. And I prefer to do it that way, especially with my higher drive and higher energy dogs, because if all I do is walk them or go on a run with them, or all I do is just throw the ball, then I'm just going to build more endurance, not wearing them down mentally. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with building endurance in a dog. A lot of people don't necessarily want that, but you also have to understand that dogs are made to do certain things and be a certain way. Humans are the ones that are evolving. Dogs necessarily aren't to certain degrees. So they're still going to be genetically programmed to do certain things and be certain ways. So expecting every single dog that you ever encounter or own or live with to just be a couch potato is unrealistic and in all reality unfair to the dog. I'm never trying to suppress what a dog is. I'm trying to channel the dog into appropriate avenues, especially arousal and energy. Because if we don't show them how to compartmentalize these things, they're going to choose where to place all of that energy. And oftentimes that leads into more problematic behaviors, like your reactivity, like your aggression. And all the obedience and play and everything is not the end all be all of fixing those issues, but it could be a very powerful starting point, or a system to help overcome those things a lot better, so it's not just strictly punitive.